What's up, chess world? This is the round 4 recap of the Tata Steel Chess Masters, and it was an fighting day, albeit we had all 7 draws, but it was definitely not one of those Grandmasters draws that you see that happen very quickly. But these were hard for tooth and nail fighting games, and let's have a look at the results first. So, starting with MVL and David Under was the longest game of the day. It ended after almost 7 hours of chess, but that is what you can see that the players are really fighting out, and it's not those 20 moves or 25 moves draws that we see generally. Then Tari versus Firuza was a slugfest, and that is going to be a tactical shot of the day today. And then Van Forest versus Carlsen was a smart opening choice by Van Forest, and he drew Carlsen rather comfortably. Donchenko Wojtasek is another amazing game-changing moment that we'll be showing you guys, and it is going to be epic. I can guarantee you that. And then Duda versus Anish was a rather timid draw out of all these 7. Hari Krishna versus Fabi was looking to be a little scary for Hari when he picked the right moment, and we'll be checking in with Hari as well in our first segment. And lastly, Esipenko and Grandelius was again one of those rather simpler draws, if I can say. And let's check it with the leaders, guys. Since there were no results, there are no changes in the leaderboard, and it's the same from the previous round. Hari, Magnus, Giri, Fabi, and Grandelius all leading with 2.5 out of 4, heading into the first rest day, guys. So today there'll be no action, so you can replay all the games, enjoy these recaps, and just chill today, because even the players have had very hard fought 4 days at YKNZ, including in the COVID bubble. So let's check in with our first game of today's segment, that is check in with Hari. So it started out with Hari playing the Roy Lopez, or the Spanish opening, against world number 2 Fabiano Caruana, and they go in for a rather well known line, very well theoretical researched line here. And Hari didn't manage to get much from the opening here, guys. But let's come to the most critical moment of the game, where things started looking a little bit bleak for Hari Krishna, and that is when he struck through. And yes, it is around this moment that you can see these. This bishop is very strong in the center. This passed pawn might be a queen. Black's queen is well placed, and even the rook is on an open file. So things were looking rather bleak for Hari Krishna, but he comes up with an ingenious idea here. Knight f3, bishop e6. Now he gets the knight. Look how in only 2 moves Hari Krishna has improved. Whoops. Yeah, here. In only 2 moves, Hari Krishna has brought his worst placed piece to the best placed square, that is to e5. And here, after Fabi plays queen to d4, Hari Krishna had to go for it. I mean, there is only one chance to, it's easier to go for something direct or forced rather than struggle or defend for 7 hours. So Hari goes in for a piece sacrifice. This is where you should also consider Caruana's resilience and resources. Of course, you can't take, because I take with queen g6 and I take everything with check. So queen d1 check, takes. And here you can actually win a piece by playing pawn to c3. So you're kind of deflecting the rook from its duty, and once it goes, you just take back the piece. And the point being, now Hari wants to get this pawn, and this bishop, whoops, doesn't have these squares to defend the pawn. And it's just white has 3 pawns for the bishop, and it's never too much for black, and he was happy to repeat the moves and take home half a point, because these 2 passed pawns also might be risky, because Hari was threatening to play rook b6, pawn to a6, and pawn to b5 and push them on their own. So overall, all in all, a fairly good result for Hari, and plus you can factor in that he was leading, and so good result, I would say. Now let's check in with our second game of the day, that is between Wojtaszek and Donchenko, the newcomer. And it is especially interesting because if you check in, they had a rather simple game, but let's jump into the game-changing moment that was in this position, guys. So Donchenko is a pawn up. You can see this pawn, and here the black king is an extremely powerful piece, and he played the move king a3, which is the best move here. So it is very important to note that you cannot be greedy and play bishop f1 to capture this pawn, because this move instantly loses after bishop to d3. And of course you cannot take because this pawn is a runner. So let's say you continue with your greediness, and now I just start pushing. Remember, pass pawn should be pushed. I push to g4, bishop in c4, bishop into g4. Now the bishop is threatening to go back, so we play the brilliant move bishop to e2. What a move! So now the point is, if you take, these two pawns can be stopped by my king, but this pawn is a runner. So that is not possible. So after bishop h3, c4, bishop g4, bishop e2, let's say you play bishop h3 again. Point being, for c5 you want to go here, and then if I push, you take this. So now the best move of the game is bishop back to d3, protecting this pawn, and I'll allow you to queen first. h3, c6, h2, c7, h1 queen, c8 queen. Now even though you have queen first, you have the move, but this position is absolutely lost because my king has no checks and you are going to be dead after queen c3. And a sample variation with bishop to c3 and just check, and it's made in 3 after this. Very nice example here to be alert, be resourceful to the very end, guys. And that brings us to our next moment, game changing moment, that is between Van Foreest against Carlsen. And yeah, as you can see here, we head in right into the important moment, that is around here, guys. So Magnus Carlsen, being Magnus Carlsen, gets a equal opening middle game, manages to sneak out a pawn here and there, and he gets this position. And this is a position that you dread, that you don't want to be playing against Magnus. And because you are a pawn down, and it's a bishop versus a knight, and plus 3 versus 2, and like Van Foreest might have been in some hours of torture, and here he was very lucky to edge out or to save himself, because I think after king g5, let's say knight f3 check, king goes to h5. Now Magnus has all the time in the world. He can put his bishop to b6, get the rook to the 7th, attack this pawn, and if white goes passive, he has g5, he can bring his king back, he has h5, g4. I mean, it's a long fight overall. So here in this critical moment, Van Foreest was lucky, thanked his stars, that Carlsen played rook to d2, completely missing the fact that after rook into h6, he doesn't have time for this double attack, because after knight f3 check, the knight picks up the rook, and this is just a draw. And Carlsen was very angry with himself, and he just dropped his king down, and okay, this is just a simple draw. And Van Foreest must thank his stars after this game. And let's jump into our last game here, that is between Aryan Tari versus Firouzja. And what a game this was. I mean, this is definitely our tactical shots, and I love this game to the core, and you will see why. So let's check in with the moment, the tactical shot here. So black has just played bishop g5. This has been a crazy game. I'll put the link, put all the games and the link in the description for you guys. So bishop g5 was played. I dash to play knight h3 check. Here Firouzja had the chance to, Tari had the chance to beat Firouzja by just playing king to h1. Just get out of all those checks and chill. And now we are threatening queen to d4. So let's say if you play queen d5, I play h4, rook, bishop h6. Now I capture on c5. After queen c5, I capture knight d4, and I am a healthy exchange up. And Tari could have converted this. Instead, he blunders with rook takes c5, and it's a sad blunder, guys. Because after queen c5, knight into g5. Now, can you find the win, guys? Let me know in the comments. Can you find the winning move here? And yes, it's exciting to always give a check, but sadly this time you just had to play the simple bishop takes e2, bishop e2 here, attacking the rook, and rook e1. Now comes the moment of the day. Bam! Rook to d1, sacrificing your queen for free, but you have this check. King comes up. Now you give a knight check, protect your knight, protect your rook. So king has to go away. Now you capture the queen, and you are a full rook up. You have just nothing to be worried about, and this was absolutely winning for for Firouzja, but after rook c5, queen c5, he missed the idea. He played knight e2 check, and both the players were in terrible time pressure. And after king g2, Tari could have continued the game, and I mean, he has a good position. I mean, he's threatening rook check, rook winning the queen. There are plenty of threats. He's definitely not worse, but he offered a draw, and it's the 30th move, the minimum threshold for offering a draw. And Firouzja gladly accepted because both of them were in terrible time pressure, and this looked very, very troublesome for both players. So I would highly recommend you to check it out because this was one of the best games of the day, even though it ended in a draw. So guys, let's check in quickly with our quick tips that you guys can learn and yes, and implement as well. So that is, watch out for tactics and resources in every position. That you can see Caruana did beautifully. Even after Hari's knight takes g6, he found the queen d1 idea, the pawn to c3 idea, which just shows their resilience and why top players rarely lose in classical chess. Secondly, it's calculate till the end by Wojtasek. He didn't go for bishop f1, bishop into h3 idea, the greedy idea, because you saw the pawn race and then black was losing in the end. So that's foresight, that's calculation, that's intuition shown by Wojtasek. That is why he didn't go in for the greedy idea, but stuck to the draw, stuck to the defense, and got that half point that he deserved. And finally, one of the most important tips that it is the most visible in all levels, especially at the lower levels, is one move can change the entire result, and that is what we saw just now in Tari versus Firouzja. You know, one move here or there can change the result at all levels. So you have to be really, really alert, really watch out for those and check out each and every possibilities till the end. And yes, guys, finally we are to the pairings. Please note that there is no round today. Today there's a rest day. So round 5 will be played tomorrow. That is the 21st of October, of January, sorry. So yes, that will feature Anish Giri versus Pentala Harikrishna, and of course Magnus Carlsen versus the tailender Donchenko. So those are two of the interesting matches that I can see, and of course Firouzja versus Jordan Van Foreest is a cracker of a game. So I'll be there at 6:30 p.m. on the 21st, watching these games live on chess.com TV. And do let us know who do you think is poised to for the tournament win after the first rest day. 4 games down, and we have 9 more games to go. So let us know in the comments, and I'll see you for the next stream.